This subject was brought up to me and to be explained in greater details by one of my clients. Why a narcissist can get over you like you never existed, right? It's a, it's kind of like part of the phenomenon of engaging with the narcissist and, being around them and perceiving yourself to be developing a relationship or a connection of some sort. Well, as we know, we have to go to the beginning, right? In the beginning, the new supply, which you were at one point, is seen as this idealistic, perfect type of person, right? And because the narcissist has very poor object constancy, right, which is the ability to retain a bond with another person, even if you're upset, disappointed in them, or for whatever various reasons, right? Typically, a person can still maintain the same bond, the same level of connectivity to where it doesn't waver from 1 minute they like you and you do something wrong, now you're totally flawed in their eyes. So in the beginning, when you're this new source of supply, and this is what many of you I don't know if it's been mentioned or discussed within this community, but to shed light on it, a lot of you didn't realize when you're with the narcissist, because they live in their head in fantasy mode, for the majority of the time, they kind of make you into the person that they would want to be with. So, for example, they're with you, but in their minds, you're a whole different person that thinks and acts and behaves the way they see it in their minds, right? This is why they hate any type of autonomy from the person or independence from the supply, because they have envisioned and they're acting out simultaneously or living in the fantasy of you being someone else that they are with. So they create a perception of connection. Many times their fantasy is switching you out for a totally different person that they would like to be with and fantasize to be with. And they, in their minds, make you become them while you're with them. So essentially, they're borrowing your body, your energy, and your emotions. You're just the vessel. But they're seeing this ideal. They're able to shift their minds to detach from reality to a certain extent to actually see you as something else, right? And you become a part of that fantasy that's going on in their head, right? What happens oftentimes is when the closer you're bonding, the more extreme the expectations become off of this character that they're simultaneously living with and playing out in their head. They're not learning anything really about you other than monitoring what your reactions and responses are to the things that they do, what stimulates you, what motivates you, so that they can get this character. They can, more comprehensively create I guess you can say, a curriculum for you being the character to operate off, a storyline, if you will. And even down to the behaviors that they do, it's trying to get that character to respond, to react at least, to how they want them to react. Because they need you to be the depiction of what their character that they've created in their mind that they want to live this fantasy out with. They need you to become every bit of that. Problem is, you're not just this robotic character that's living in their mind, right? In the real world, in reality, you're not that at all. So when you begin to do things that veer or steer away from the fantasy that they're playing, that's playing out in their minds, in their heads, that's when the problems start. Now the narc begins to detach. The moment you don't live up to their expectations, which in most cases is extremely unrealistic, the moment you disappoint them, the moment you go against them or challenge them, it's like, boom, their bubble pops. And now they see you for who you really are, right? And not for what they were living, the fantasy that they were making you out to be in their head, in their minds. And this is that jolt, that shock that makes them start to initially try to leverage more control over your mind. Some become, passive aggressive, verbally abusive, some even physically abusive, just to try to, contour you back and mold you back into this fantasy fictitious character that they want to live this out with, to play this out with, at least. Right? So when you don't, the moment you start to veer outside of the fantasy that they have depicted for you, you become defective. Because now they're saying, wait a minute. Oh, you have these likes? Oh, you don't like that? What do you mean you don't like that? What do you mean you don't? You're supposed to like what they have envisioned in their minds, in their fantasy. You're supposed to be all about that. Now, of course, they try to all the methods and tactics of manipulation and control to get you to conform back to this character that they want you to be. But the more, if you notice, the more that you stand firm on your own identity, the more of a battle, the more of a tug you get from them, right? And to the point where now they don't want you anymore. The triggering point was you standing on and not backing down from being the individual that you are versus what they try to paint you out to be. Now, when that happens, now they don't want any part of you because they found out, wait a minute, you can't be the fantasy person that I want to play this out with. Well, I don't need you. This isn't going to be fun anymore. Right? And this is how they live in their minds. And this is why when it comes down to that, they're able to just say, forget it. I'm done. I can walk away from this. I'm not going to have any fun with you anyway. You're not going to be doing the things that I want to have anyway. This isn't going to feel good for me. This isn't fun. I don't want this. Right? Because when you start standing your ground and enforcing your boundaries, it forces reality to come into their fantasy. And that's a conflict of interest for the narcissist. Reality is something that, totally destroys their mood, their emotions. It throws them off severely. And if you become that person, they have no real need to keep you around, because at that point, you're harmful to them in their eyes. You're a mood killer to them in their eyes. You're problematic to them in their eyes. All right. And so, in many ways, you have to, in just different relationship settings, whether they be normal or, with narcissists or whatnot, because everyone's not a narcissist, but you just have to pay attention to, especially the first 60 days of, engaging with someone. Because that's how narcissists learn you. They're paying attention to your reactions and your emotions and what motivates you, what gets you down, what frustrates you. They're trying to learn all these things to create the best scene to live out their fantasy with, while keeping you as the character that they can have fun with. And again, this character has nothing to do with who you are when they're doing this. Yeah, they can remember certain likes and stuff that, you like and things that you want, but it doesn't really resonate with them to any degree to where they see it as coming from you. Like, they don't feel that they feel that's like a glitch in the programming that they're running, and they just have to work around the glitch. They're never learning how you really are, how you really feel. Most of the times they have no clue of what you're really like, because they've already labeled you and put you in this box to be something that they want you to act out in their world and in their minds. This is what narcs are doing to bind. They're binding traps, at least, that play a lot on your emotions and feelings. So to the victim, everything felt real. The love, all these things felt real. But when you see the results in the end of why they're so easy and quick to walk away, and why it's so easy, you realize that it couldn't have been real. And indeed it wasn't. You weren't even the character that they were this whole time that they were engaging with in their minds. They never acknowledged you in that way that another normal human being would acknowledge your character and everything. They never acknowledged that. It's only acknowledged and rewarded if it fits the script that they wrote. Anything outside of that, they don't know that person. And so when you begin to stray away or rebel against any type of, any type of way that they're trying to groom you, or in any way like that, that's where the problem comes. You're defective from that point on. They have no use for you. And if the Hoover comes, it's only to see, has my character adjusted themselves to be what I want? Or is the programming still faulty and running off? That's how they see it. So, to sum it up, why they can get over you like you never existed: because you never did exist in their mind. Anyway, that's all I have to say for this. Like, subscribe. Any one-on-one consultations, you just have to click the link in the description below. Email me, whatnot. But anyway, enjoy yourselves. Have a good one.